Hello and welcome to a very special Toon Network transfer update with me, Adam. I'm here live in Porto. I've come to see the Porto friendly tomorrow night, courtesy of True Faith. Head over to TF Weekly Pod on Twitter to catch loads more content on there. So, in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, we've confirmed the signing of a Swiss defender, Fabian Schär, on a cut price deal due to a relegation release clause from Deportivo. So Schär's arrived as a replacement for Chancellor Mbemba, who indeed went to Porto, but I don't think he'll make it tomorrow because I think he's injured. So what are you going to do? So Schär comes in for 3 million, which, you know, given that he has a lot of pedigree, had loads of potential when he was at Ball. He's won the league title 3 times there. He's got experience. He's in his, I think he's about 26, mid-20s. He's got about 47 caps 44 caps for Switzerland as well. So he's played in Germany, he's played for Hoffenheim, he's played for Deportivo in La Liga, although that was only last year and that was a very unsuccessful season for the club. And he's played in Switzerland for Ball. So he's been around Europe, he has experience, he's got a lot of, he's played in the World Cup as well for Switzerland. In fact, you might know him for manhandling Muto. Do you remember when Muto went down in the Serbia game and he was manhandled by 2 Swiss defenders? One of them was Schär, so there you go, that's going to be awkward. So, from my perspective, I mean, Fabian Schär was always somebody who had a lot of potential. He was always good on Football Manager a few years back. So, you know, there's something about him, and I know a lot of people are balking at the £3 million. You know, transfer fees aren't indicative of talent. He had a £3 million release clause because Deportivo probably didn't expect to get relegated. His agent's worked wonders there. I mean, yeah, he might not be worth, in real terms, too much more than that, but ultimately, what you've got to take this as is Schär going to be better than Mbemba, given that Mbemba, yes, Mbemba has good talent, but as Rafa Benitez has said, he hasn't settled, he wasn't committed to learning the language. That was a huge barrier. So he wasn't going to play Mbemba, so Mbemba comes out and in comes a guy who has just played in the World Cup for his country, who they did relatively well to get out of the group as well. He was a part of that. And he comes with a lot of experience. And is he better than Kieran Clark? Probably is my answer to that. I don't know for sure, because I haven't seen a lot of him play, but is he better than Clark? I mean, ultimately what we need him to be is a backup option for Lejeune and Lascelles. So Lejeune's got a bit of a knee injury at the minute, which is slightly concerning, although hopefully those fears are going to be allayed. But, so he might come in a bit sooner than we expect, but we needed somebody who, I mean, he just fits the bill, doesn't he? We are on a tight, I mean, let's not get into the politics of this, but we are on a very tight budget. We don't have a lot of manoeuvrability in the transfer market. So to get a World Cup player who did well for his country, who has played in a couple of the top leagues on the continent, and has had huge potential in the past. You know, he might, you know, Barcelona was sniffing around him when he was at Ball, for example. He's a decent player, and you know, when Newcastle United, we can't expect to get the most amazing defensive talent. So to get somebody like Schär, who could turn it around, could really do things in England. And the only reason that we were able to even get him is because of a relegation from a side that probably wasn't expecting to get relegated. So, from my perspective, I think it's a fantastic addition. He'll be pushing for first team, and I think he certainly comes in as third choice ahead of Kieran Clark, which I think can only be a good thing. No offence to Kieran Clark, but when he did come in before Christmas, when Lascelles was injured, I found his position all over the place. I think Lejeune got a lot of unwarranted criticism for that run, but I think Clark was very much culpable as well, and given that Clark had played in the Premier League before, Lejeune was just trying to settle into a new country, new league. Obviously Lejeune turned it round from February onwards, that famous Man United game. But I think we need to bolster options, and Mbemba wasn't ever going to get a game, so Schär comes in and can push for first team, and I think he looks a really solid player, and we'll see what comes of it. I think we've got him for his peak years, I think, at the age of sort of 26, around that. So really pleased with that. 3 million. Don't judge a player based on a relegation release clause, okay? Everyone thought that Marino was worth more than the £12 million or the £10 million release clause that he went back to Sociedad for. So it works both ways, guys. So the other signing that we've confirmed that the deal has been agreed, player terms have been confirmed. We're just awaiting a work permit for the Japanese striker Yoshinori Muto. Now, he played for Mainz last season. He was their top goal scorer with 8 goals and 2 assists. There's a lot of people maybe criticising him, saying, well, 8 goals, that's nothing. But 8 goals is what our top goal scorer, Jose Perez, got last season. 8 goals is more than Dwight Gale got last season for us. 8 goals is more than Joselu got for us. What we've got to do, as I said with Schär, is he better than the backup? You take every potential transfer in context to our squad, right? Being realistic. Is he an improvement on Gale? We don't know yet, because he's coming in from a different country. Will he adapt to the English game? He had 82 minutes played in the World Cup, so that's another World Cup player that we have. Again, that's not necessarily indicative of talent. He's come in for $9.5 million, obviously work permit pending. But from what people say, I haven't seen a lot of him play, I'll be honest with you, I really haven't. But he looks to be mobile, he looks to be energetic, and he's got a bit of pace as well. And if you look at what Gale brought to the team, I mean, Gale got a lot of things right last season in terms of his work rate. He was able to do the high press that Benitez absolutely wants to do. He did that in tandem with the Jose Perez. His mobility, his anticipation was really good, but Dwight Gale lacked that composure in front of goal to get some shots away. And I probably see Muto as a replacement for Gale. I genuinely believe Gale will go. I think he'll probably be used as a make-weight for a Rondon deal. I really think that will happen now. Certainly that Muto comes in with the qualities of Gale, but I think the idea is Benitez sees Muto as an upgrade on Gale in terms of his finishing. Again, being mindful to not just focus on, oh, but he only scored 8 goals. I think it's more about how that player will fare in a Rafa Benitez system. We know how Gale fares in a Rafa Benitez system in the Premier League, but how will Muto fare in the Premier League? He might comfortably get 10 goals, for example. I think he's very much a Rafa Benitez player in the sense that his work ethic is good, he has lots of stamina, he will harry defenders and he will force mistakes, and I think that alone as an outlet, certainly on the counter-attack in terms of pace, breaking fast, John Joe Shelby balls over the top, Kennedy whipping balls in. I mean, yeah, we've all looked at YouTube compilations, doesn't tell us a lot, but what it does say is that he scored a fair few goals with his head, which Gale doesn't. So there's a lot of people saying, well, why don't we just stick with Gale, why don't we stick with strikers that we've got? It's not worth it. Well, let's not judge the lad before he's even had a chance to get the work permit agreed. Given how our strikers performed last season, Mitrovic, how he's performed in terms of Newcastle, not Fulham, how Joselu and Gale performed for Newcastle, is that they weren't good enough. And personally, I'm happy to see us roll the dice on this. Roll the dice on the strikers, get Muto in, get Rondon in. I really like to see him come in. I think they've both got complementary attributes as well, give us something different, offer options up front, and let's see what happens. I can probably guess how Gale's going to perform next season. It'll be similar. He loses confidence in front of goal. He does really well to work hard and get himself in the right positions, but it's the Premier League and you need more than that. I think we're hoping that that Muto comes in and he can apply that finishing touch in front of goal that we were kind of lacking. So, 9.5 million for a Japanese international. I think he's got 25 caps, 2 goals, which isn't loads, but we don't know what systems he's been played in. That can say a lot, you know, it really can. In fact, thinking of the likes of international goals and caps, here's a little stat I picked out. So, back to Schär. So, international performance, Raheem Sterling, 44 caps to date for England, 2 goals. Fabian Schär, 42 caps, 7 goals. Stick him up front, Rafa. If we're having problems, stick him up front. It looks like he's kind of handy in the box. Going back to Muto, it seems that a lot of his best work is done in the box, and in terms of kind of shot conversion in the Bundesliga is pretty decent. So here's a bit of stats for you. Here's a few stats for you. So of the 20 Bundesliga goals Muto has scored, 19 have come from inside the penalty area, while a conversion rate, 21.6%, ranked him on the top third of those to have scored 5 or more league goals this term, according to Who Scored. So he's going to give us a lot more impetus in the box. Now, I keep banging the drum about this, but one of the standout stats for Newcastle last season was their inability to take shots from inside the box. So Newcastle, the highest ratio percentage of shots from outside the box last season. So I think we had 48% of our shots were taken outside the box. And as we all know, scoring from outside the box is so much harder than scoring inside the box. We had most of our shots from outside the box, sorry, almost half our shots from outside the box. However, we were probably, I think, third on the list of teams who actually managed to score from outside the box. So it's such a disparity there. We need to change the way that we attack. That's a major issue. It's a stat that Rafa Benitez, of course, would have picked up. Of course he would have. He'd be all over this. The fact that how meticulous he is and that he does his research, he does his homework, this will matter to him. So he'll be looking at Muto as somebody who can start to finish off these moves, create space for others inside the box. And I think that's another reason that he's been brought in, and another reason why I think he'll very much suit a Rafa Benitez system. So I think that's really important to take into account and not judge him before he's even pulled the shirt on for the first time. As I said before, I'm happy to roll the dice on the strikers. We need something different. He's going to be coming in as a bit of an unknown entity to a lot of people, and we need to use that. We need to scare people with his pace, and the fact that he does score, a fair few headers, and works very much in the box and around the 6-yard area, which Gale does. But I just think he's a bit of an upgrade. He's international class, clearly, because he was at the World Cup. Gale wasn't even close to getting into the England squad. So, we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully the work permit goes through, but I think it's all but done. I'll leave it there, guys. There'll be a match report video coming out after the Porto game. Really, really excited to be here, and thanks again to True Faith. Please check out their Facebook and check them out on Twitter as well. There'll be loads of content coming from there, myself included. I've been out the Toon Network. This has been another Toon Network transfer update. Let's hope there's a few more. See you later. Bye.